Okay, so as usual, I've put the solution at the start here. I am using a try block to validate this input from the user. And what I'm doing is I'm testing it to see whether it falls within one of these items here from this list. So if the data entered by the user is not 1, 2, or 3, the user will continue to be prompted until they enter one of those 3 choices. So here it is. If you'd like to go through in more detail, feel free to stick around. So let's get rid of all this for now. So I'm going to start with my choices here, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm also going to keep this here. So valid choice equals false. So I'm going to use this Boolean false value here to continue to prompt the user until they enter 1, 2, or 3. And then when they do, I'm going to change this to true to break out of a while loop. So I'll say while not valid choice number equals int input, and then I'll just say, for example, please enter 1, 2, or 3. So basically, the user is going to be prompted to enter 1, 2, or 3, and then we have our int function here, and that's going to check to make sure that it is an integer. From there, we'll say if number in choices. Then we'll say valid choice equals true. Okay, so let's run that and check it to make sure it's okay. So 7, 8, okay, so these numbers are outside of that range, so we are continually being prompted. 2, we've entered 2, and our program finishes with no errors. So this code here is working. However, there's a really big problem with using the int function to validate data. And I'm going to show you what that is right now. If I enter, for example, we get an error. So value error, invalid literal for int So what's happening here is Python is saying, you told me that the value entered by the user is going to be an integer. However, it is not, and I don't know what to do with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a try block. So the try block says, try to process the data according to the conditions we specify. If you can't do it, then please execute some other code that we specify. It might sound a bit confusing, but just bear with me and I'll show you an example. So let's get rid of that int here. We're going to say try, and we're going to say number equals int number. So we're telling Python, hey, try to process that input as an integer. Then we're going to say except value error. So as per this error message here. And we put colon, and we're going to print, for example, invalid. What do we say? Please try again. That works. Okay, so let's try again. And you should find now that when we enter letters or a string, we get invalid, please try again, and the user is again prompted to enter a number. So you should find that regardless of what we enter here, our program doesn't crash. Good stuff. So there's one more thing that I want to add to this program. So at the moment, when we enter letters, we get this invalid, please try again message. However, when we enter a number that is outside of those choices, we actually don't get any kind of message at all. So the way we can fix this is we can actually use an if statement inside of our try block. So I'm going to say if number not in choices rint, nice one. actually had surgery on my arm today, which is why I'm not printing stuff out so well. But so in this case here, if the number is outside of this range here, but it is a number, we're still going to get this invalid message here. So let's try that. And now you should pretty much find whatever you enter, we're still going to get that error message. So this is working quite nicely. So I hope this was helpful for you, and thank you very much.